down Zero Rumble, and good morning, hello, welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is about what happened today throughout the annals of recorded history, starting with, what do we got in 218 BC?
Battle of Trebia. Hannibal's Carthaginian army heavily defeats Roman forces on Italian soil during the Second Punic War.
Ooh, alright. And just after that?
Ildefonsus, Archbishop of Toledo and later saint, reportedly has a vision of the Virgin Mary who presents him with a priestly vestment.
Huh. A lot of visions throughout history and whatnot. Oh. Ooh, and here's a big one here. While you're reading this one, I'm going to grab my other Christmas hat.
1271, Mongol Emperor Kublai Khan renames his empire Yuan, marking the second start of the Yuan dynasty of China.
Ooh, that's pretty big right there. Moving on up, off of main source here in 1499, a rebellion broke out in Alpujarras in response to the forced conversions of Muslims in Spain. So are they trying to convert them to Christianity, or are they trying to convert them to Muslim? Or to Islam? Not sure. 1603, the first fleet of the Dutch East India Company under Admiral Stephen van der Hagen departed for the East Indies. So, you know, like as it's done today, you know, it's done back in back in the yonder year. Instead of governments going and taking over things, they use corporations. You know, so the Dutch East India Company was obviously for the Netherlands. And that was their hat thrown in the ring of colonizing the Indian subcontinent. 1621, English Parliament accepted unanimously protestation. What the heck is that? Protestation. Let's look that up here really quick. What is protestation? An empathetic declaration in response to doubt or accusation, and an objection or protest. Okay. Okay, so protestation. So the ability to protest. That's pretty self-explanatory right there. Moving on up, what do we got here in 1642?
1642, Abel Tasman expedition is the first European voyage to reach New Zealand, sailing inward where Agni Bay, the top of the South Island, making the first confirmed contact with Maori.
And I have a question. Does that name ring any bells for you? Abel Tasman?
No.
Tasmania. Yeah, named after him. Another off of main source here, 1655, the Whitehall Conference ended with a determination that there was no law preventing Jews from re-entering England after the Edict of Expulsion of 1290. Okay. So, like, essentially they got expelled, but they can come back. Okay, but why did they get expelled to begin with? You know, here we go again. 1719, Thomas Fleet published Mother Goose's Melodies for Children in Boston, Massachusetts. And that's, we have a picture right here. This is an older, I'm not sure if this is the original. I did find older looking images, but they were too small, really, to have on here. Moving on up, what do we got here in 1773?
A skirmish at Grass Cove in Queen Charlotte Sound results in the deaths of 2 Maori and 9 members of James Cook's expedition in New Zealand.
Oh. And I'm just sitting here like, I was just thinking, you know, yesterday it was really cold, you know? And I'm just looking while you're reading. I'm looking in my camera, and I see I have, you know, my normal Christmas hat here. And I'm like, you know, why am I just in a t-shirt? Why am I not cold? And I look down, I'm like, it's 80 degrees! It's 80 degrees!
Must be nice.
Right here. No, it's not nice. It's December 18th. It should not be 80 degrees. But here we go again. So, what do we got?
26 here. 26 degrees here.
Oh, man. Well, I'll give you 20 degrees from me, and then I'll take 20. And then like
perfect.
then I'll be like 60 degrees, and you'll be in 40 something. If only things work like that. Moving on up into 1774, Empress Maria Theresa expelled Jews from Prague, Bohemia, and Moravia. Why? What happened? Like,
What happened? Why?
Yeah, why?
Why do you only list the reasons when they're absurd?
Yep. 1777, the colonies celebrated its first Thanksgiving, marking the recent victory by the American rebels over British General John Burgoyne at Saratoga in October. So, didn't we have our first Thanksgiving already? Like, with the natives or something? Or I guess this is like the first Thanksgiving as us as a country entity thing. I don't know. Anyway, 1783, British King George III dismissed Duke of Portland's Whig government after 8 months. Alright. 1787, New Jersey became the third state to ratify the U.S. Constitution. Alright. So, and that's a real situation over here. 1793, surrender of the frigate La Lutine by French royalists to Lord Hood, renamed HMS Lutine. She later became a famous treasure wreck. Okay, well that's unfortunate, but yeah. 1796, we have the first U.S. newspaper to appear on Sunday, the Baltimore Monitor. And as we know, like the Sunday, the 7th day, Lord's Day, nobody goes to work, everything's closed down. At least that's how it used to be and all that stuff. Back when we were a Judeo-Christian society. But now everything's open 24/7, 365. So, and 1799, George Washington's body was interred at Mount Vernon. Rest in peace, you magnificent SOB. Like, what can we say about George Washington that hasn't already been said? I mean, he was like a great guy. Hey, I like your hat. That's a great hat. Nice. What is that, the color scheme?
So, Iowa Hawkeyes.
Oh, okay. Alright. Still Iowa, nice. I need a California Christmas hat, if those even exist. Like, not sure what it would look like. Anyway, moving up into the 1800s, what do we got here?
1832, HMS Beagle with Charles Darwin abroad reaches Tierra del Fuego for the first time.
Alright. Off of main source here, 1833, the national anthem of the Russian Empire, God Save the Tsar, was first performed. Alright. Then 6 years later, this is pretty cool.
1839, John William Draper takes first portrait photograph of a female face made in the U.S.
Yep, let me get rid of that. That was the Thanksgiving there. There's George Washington's tomb. This is the photo that King was just talking about. So that's the first picture of a female in the United States. That's pretty cool. Moving on up, off of main source here, 1854, the Legislative Assembly of the Province of Canada abolished the seigneurial system. What is the seigneurial system, you may ask? Well, let's look that up here together. Seigneurial system of New France, alright? The manorial system of New France, known as the seigneurial system, was the semi-feudal system of land tenure used in the North American French colonial empire. Economic historians have attributed the wealth gap between Quebec and other parts of Canada in the 19th and early 20th century to the persistent adverse impact of the seigneurial system. Both in nominal and legal terms, all French territorial claims in North America belonged to the French king. French monarchs did not impose feudal land tenure on New France, and the king's actual attachment to these lands was virtually non-existent. Instead, landlords were allotted land holdings known as manors and presided over the French colonial agricultural system in North America. Huh. Alright, well I'm going to add this in the... Oops, that's the wrong button. There we go. Copy. Let's see here. Seigneurial system. Alright, so I'm going to add this in the underbar description section post live stream. I haven't done that in quite a while. Moving on up to 1865. We have two of them. One of them is off of main source, so I'm going to take these both really quick. We have the first U.S. cattle importation law passed. All right, and I just want to know what that entailed. Introduction and historical review of meat something. So, meat inspection. All right. Well, like this is specifically for cattle importation. So, of course, we got to inspect that meat and everything. So, if anybody can look up anything involving this article, let us know in the comment section. That'd be great. But off a main source here, 1865 as well, U.S. Secretary of State William Seward proclaimed the adoption of the 13th Amendment prohibiting slavery throughout the United States of America. Woo! Yeah. Now, why is that not on our main source? It's 1865, as you can see, the viewers can see right here, but we don't have that. Oops, that's a wrong button.
Oh.
Why would our leftist source not talk about the abolition of slavery? That's a little weird. Huh. Another off a main source here, 1867, a magnitude 7.0 earthquake struck off the coast of Taiwan, triggering a tsunami and killing at least 580 people. Ooh, that's not good. 1869, though, what do we got here?
Canada's Hamilton Football Club plays its first game.
All right. And moving on up to 1878.
French SS Byzantin sinks after collision with Dardanelles, 210 killed.
Yikes. And right after that, another 78.
Don Keel, the last of the Molly Maguires, is executed in Pennsylvania.
Molly Maguires.
What's up? Yeah, what's a Molly Maguire?
Yeah, let's see here. Molly Maguires, all right. It was an Irish... Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is...
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It was an Irish 19th century secret society active in Ireland, Liverpool, and parts of the eastern U.S., best known for their activism among Irish American and Irish immigrant coal miners in Pennsylvania. After a series of often violent conflicts, 20 suspected members of the Molly Maguires were convicted of murder and other crimes and were executed by hanging in 1877 and 1878. This history remains part of local Pennsylvania lore, and the actual facts are much debated among historians. But just, you know, like the Irish, nobody ever talks about the Irish because they're white, you know. Nobody cares about the whites. So, yeah. What do we got in 1888?
1888, Richard Wetherill and his brother-in-law discovered an ancient Anasazi ruins of Mecca Verde, Colorado.
All right. And, actually, why is this not... Oh, what is this? Oh, I guess we skipped over the first photo of the moon. Oh, well. Okay. And we talked about the 13th Amendment. And this is what they found, I believe. Because I looked up that article, and this is one of the images. So isn't that cool? Like, carved into the side of a cliff. Pretty awesome. Moving on up to 1894, actually 1892, Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky's ballet, The Nutcracker, premiered in St. Petersburg, Russia. It is now the world's most performed ballet. His final opera, Isolenta, also premiered. As a little side footnote there, but yeah, The Nutcracker. Everybody knows about The Nutcracker. So. Moving on up to 1894, day 4 of the first test cricket test, Australia versus England. England following on 4-268, 7 in front, whatever that means. 1898, Gaston de Chasseloup-Labotte set the first officially recognized land speed record of 39.245 miles per hour or 63.159 kilometers per hour in a Jutland electric car. The first land speed record in an electric car. Like, look at that. And yeah, that was like, they were still working on the internal combustion engine and all that stuff. Like, wasn't it 1896 when Diesel created his diesel engine and whatnot?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how we're just casually doing a history show while you're slowly trying to smother your dog to death with a pillow. Moving on up into the 1900s, what do we got here?
1900, the upper Fern Tree Gully of Gimbrook narrow gauge 2 feet 6 inches or 762 millimeter railroad, now the Huffington Billy Railway and Victoria, Australia Open traffic.
All right.
All right, first railroad.
Yeah. We got an Education Act, and this actually raised my eyebrow as soon as I reread this guy's name.
1902, British Parliament passes an Education Act, which will come to be regarded as the most important legislation of Arthur Balfour's government.
Does that name sound familiar? Balfour?
No.
As in the Balfour Declaration? Okay, well, let's see here. Balfour Declaration. You're gonna lose your mind once I start reading this. The Balfour Declaration was a public statement issued by British government in 1917 during the First World War, announcing its support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. Sound familiar?
Oh,
look at that!
right.
Look at that! So now we have that guy doing things involving the public education system in the country and propaganda. So Britain really has got to distance himself from this Zionist nut job. So moving on up to 1912, the Piltdown Man, later discovered to be a hoax, was supposedly found in the Piltdown gravel pit by Charles Darwin. This is a replica of that skull. And it was a hoax to try to establish a link. You know, the whole missing link thing. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a hoax to try to establish a link. So, big deal back in the day. 1916.
Yeah, there's a bunch of links now.
Oh yeah, no, they've. I got educated on that in Futurama. Remember when Farnsworth was like, you know, oh, we discovered that, you know.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. 1916, during the First World War, the Battle of Verdun ended when the Second French Offensive pushed the Germans back 2 or 3 kilometers, causing them to cease their attacks. Alright. Now we got another stupid thing here. You want to take it?
1917, the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution authorizing prohibition of alcohol is approved by the U.S. Congress and sent to the states' ratification.
Oh man, really dumb. One of the stupidest things this country has ever done was prohibition, because like, you know, then they started poisoning alcohol because people would find ways to get it anyway, and like I think they killed dozens, if not hundreds, of U.S. citizens that way. And not to mention, like, you know, it gave rise to people like Al Capone and whatnot, which Al Capone really. You know, if you weren't in the mafia, Al Capone was actually one of your allies. Because, like, didn't he do, like, a lot of, like, good things towards man? Like, 1917 as well, the Soviet government issued a decree recognizing Finland's newly declared independence. Okay. So, when the Soviet Union formed...
Glasses almost smudged up.
Yeah, when the Soviet Union formed, the British Empire did own Finland, not the British Empire, the Russian Empire did own Finland, but the Soviet Union did not. So, here we go. 1920, we have the first U.S. postage stamps printed without the words United States or U.S. on them. That's pretty interesting right there. 1923, International Zone of Tangier set up in Morocco. That's pretty interesting. 32, off a main source, the Chicago Bears defeated the Portsmouth Spartans in the first NFL playoff game to win the NFL championship. All right.
Nice.
Yeah. Off a main source here, 1939, during the World War II, the Battle of Heligoland-Blight, the first major air battle of the war, took place. Ooh. All right. 1941, Japanese troops landed in Hong Kong. That's, we know how that ended up. 44, Nazi occupiers of Amsterdam destroyed electricity plants. That's kind of stupid. You know, you need those, you know? Like, I mean, you can sabotage them, but why destroy them? Off a main source here, 1944 as well, the Supreme Court of the United States of America issued its decision in Korematsu versus United States. This one is very ugly here. Supporting Franklin Delano Roosevelt's Executive Order 9066, which cleared the way for the incarceration of nearly all 120,000 Japanese Americans, 2/3 of whom were U.S. citizens born and raised in the United States. Why we didn't do that to Germans? Well, you know, I can't argue that there was a racial prejudice
They made
against
us
the
rockets.
Japanese at the time, so yeah.
They told us about all their screwed up experiments.
Yeah. So, 1945. What do we got here?
1945, Uruguay joins the United Nations.
All right. Oh, here we go. Some television stuff. The next year, right there.
Uruguay. 1946, TV's first network dramatic serial, Fairway Hill, ends 2 months run in U.S.
I like
Only
your little
2
joke
months.
there. I'm trying to think of a response. Like, let's go to Uranus. I don't know. That was very weird. 1947.
1947, Pope Pius the 12th publishes Encyclopedia. Oh, here we go. Encyclopedia Optimus Pax.
Encyclopedia.
Every pope's gotta write a damn book.
Is an encyclical of Pope Pius XII on prescribing public prayers for social and world peace given at Rome at St. Peter's Basilica, the 18th day of December, the 9th day of his pontificate. So yeah, 2 years after World War II, peace still is uncertain balance, yada yada. Okay, yeah, so this is post-World War, trying to maintain the peace. Interesting. Moving on up to 1956, Ballon d'Or, Blackpool and England winger Stanley Matthews won inaugural award for best football player in Europe, defeated Real Madrid pair Alfredo Di Stefano and Raymond Copa. 56, Japan was admitted in the UN. Okay. And in 57, world's first full-scale nuclear power plant for peacetime use only began to generate electricity at the Shippingport Atomic Power Station in Pennsylvania. All right. Off of main source here, 57 as well. A violent F5 tornado wiped out the entire community of Sunfield, Illinois. Ooh, that's not good. 1958, what do we have here?
1958, Niger gains autonomy within French Commune.
All right. And right after that?
1958, Project Score, the world's first communication satellite, is launched from Cape Canaveral.
Ooh. Well, that's definitely needed right there. Oh, we got some football here.
1959, Sammy Baugh named first coach of New York Titans, AFL.
Yep, the American Football League, before they merged into the NFL. 1960, we have a general meeting of the UN condemned apartheid. Good. Well, they need to condemn the current apartheid happening. Yeah, over in another area of the Middle East. 61, for the second consecutive year, the Associated Press named Wilma Rudolph Female Athlete of the Year. All right.
Thanks.
Is that where we get the song "Run Run Rudolph"?
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. 61 as well. India annexed Portuguese colonies of Goa, Damau, and Diu. India taking things now. Okay. Moving on up, what do we got here in 1963? As soon as I find it, here it is.
The Pink Panther film premieres, directed by Blake Edwards, also starring Peter Sellers and David Niven. The theme music composed by Henry Mancini.
Is that the one like dun 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 dun, or is that a different one?
Well, it's at least what the cartoon used.
Oh, okay, so I was right.
I assume the movie. It came from the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the lore behind Pink Panther.
I don't either. But just 1 year later.
Oh, 1964, the Pink Panther cartoon series premieres.
Yeah.
Pink Fink.
Yeah. So obviously it was a success. Now this one annoyed me here.
1964, during funeral service held by Sour singer Sam Cooke, fans caused damage to funeral home. What the hell?
You can't have anything good for some reason.
No.
Oh. 1964, filming was completed for Star Trek pilot The Cage. Cast included Jeffrey Hunter, Susan Oliver, Leonard Nimoy, and Majel Barrett. Although it never airs, some footage was reused in Menagerie episode of the series. I've heard about that. So, and William Shatner wasn't even part of the original cast. So, it's pretty interesting. Leonard Nimoy, rest in peace. 1965, Frank Borman and Jim Lovell splashed down in the Atlantic after a 2-week Gemini 7 mission. Okay. 65, Kenneth LaBille jumped 17 barrels on ice skates. Okay, that's weird. I wonder if that record still stands. And maybe this is something for David Rush to go after. But hey, oh yeah, this guy's a racist now, right? Like Dr. Seuss's white supremacy, according to the lunatics. So let's talk about him. What did he do today?
In 1966, Dr. Seuss, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, airs for the first time on CBS. Animated special directed by Chuck Jones, featuring the voices of Boris Karloff and June Foray and Thurl Ravenscroft, with songs by Albert Haig.
Oh. And How the Grinch Stole Christmas, a great movie, you know, the cartoon at least. The one with the live action one is okay, you know.
It's alright.
Yeah, Jim Carrey though, with that smile, like, you know, like that was all him. Like he can really do that. He stretched the hell out of his mouth, like right, like that wasn't CGI.
I don't know, but I know if anybody could do it, it would be the contortionist Jim Carrey.
Yep.
The face contortionist.
Yep. And speaking of contortion, you know, and space time and whatnot, you know. What do we got here? 66.
Saturn's moon, Epimetheus, is discovered by Richard L. Walker.
Ah. And for some reason, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang has made it again. Didn't we cover this 2 days ago?
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's move on up here. In 1969, this one.
House of Lords votes to abolish the death penalty in England, Wales, and Scotland. Northern Ireland, 25th July, 1973.
So I believe that's when it came into effect. So, 1970, a Polish uprising failed. I wonder what happened involving that. Like, it's just literally just 3 words. Polish uprising fails. But like
yeah, I'm sure it was some anti-left-wing thing that they...
maybe something about communism, you know, like Poland weren't they part of the Soviet Union at the time in the 70s? Oh, not sure.
Like I say, you need to get your own site going.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, well, you know, we're working on all this stuff in the background. So, 1971, the first candlelight processional at the Epcot Center in Disney World. Oh, I did not realize that they had a candlelight processional. Aren't they supposed to be the city of the future? Why are they candlelighting? Like, isn't that a little antiquated for what they're supposed to be doing? 71, CBS Radio canceled Saturday morning band concerts. Probably because everybody was tuning in for cartoons. But then 71, People United to Save Humanity, also known as PUSH, was formed by Jesse Jackson in Chicago. Alright, as long as it's not like, you know, crazy.
Yeah, it was run by Jesse Jackson. I think you clearly know.
Jesse Jackson. The name is familiar. What?
Leftist.
Oh, okay. So it is a nut job thing. All right.
Yeah, it is.
Moving on up. What else do we have in 71?
U.S. dollar devalued 7.9% in Holland. Oof.
Ooh. So that way, $1 US would equivalent 3,245, whatever this is, the Holland Y. So, hey, here's a big one.
U.S. launches Operation Linebacker 2, its heaviest bombing of North Vietnam as negotiations to the end of the Vietnam War collapse.
Yep. And from our other source here, it says during the Vietnam War, President Richard Nixon announced that the United States will engage North Vietnam in Operation Linebacker 2, a series of Christmas bombings after peace talks collapsed with North Vietnam on the 13th of this month. So, moving on up to 1973. Actually, I'm going to take this one because I have a more meteor article here. During the Soviet Soyuz program, Soyuz 13, crewed by cosmonauts Valentin Lebedev and Pyotr Kitmuk, was launched from Baikonur in the Soviet Union. And according to here, it would be in orbit for 8 days. All right. Moving on up to another 73 here.
1973, Yanks signed Dick Williams as manager, overturned later by Al Press.
American League president, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decimal points would help.
Yeah, you got 2 more here.
1974, San Francisco Visitors Center at the City Hall opens.
All right. Pretty cool.
1976, Wonder Woman debuts on ABC.
Yeah. I love that comic where like Superman was asking Wonder Woman why she always deflected the bullets with her like little, Van Brosses or whatever they're called, and because like she's bulletproof too.
Yeah, ting 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 ting. Yeah,
jiggle,
ting,
jiggle, jiggle,
jiggle,
like,
jiggle, jiggle, jiggle.
Now I know why. But hey, wouldn't that be a great diversionary tactic? Or actually, if anything, that would make the criminals want to shoot her even more.
Yeah, that is true. You never see her protecting her legs or anything.
Yeah.
It's always up here, some kind of move.
Yeah. 1977, NBA Cleveland Cavaliers retired jersey number 42, Nate Thumond. All right. 79, stuntman Stanley Barrett unofficially broke the land speed record and the sound barrier in his 3-wheeled vehicle, the Budweiser Rocket. It reached 739.666 miles per hour, or Mach 1.01. The speed was never officially recorded, and the attempt remains controversial. So, Budweiser Rocket, 1979. Let's take a look at what that vehicle looked like. 1979. Alright. Images. And we can get rid of these. Oh, okay, that one I've seen. I remember that one. So apparently that broke the sound barrier on the ground. But that was 79. You think if they did that, we would have... We have broken the sound barrier on the ground, right? Yeah.
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 I believe so.
Yeah, they even made fun of it.
Yeah, it's only like 800 miles per hour. Around there.
Apparently not, because this is only 739. What is the speed of sound? Hold on a sec. That is Mach 1 mph. Mach 1. Okay, let me. Why is it not telling me? 750 miles per hour is Mach 1. Okay, so wait a minute. So if it's 739, it's not 750. How is it over Mach 1? That makes no sense. The math isn't mathing here.
Math's not mathing.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go on a limb and say it did not. Moving on up, what do we got here in 1980?
1980, Dutch Second Chamber accepts Minister Van Ack's abortion laws.
Huh.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that makes me wonder what's going on. Like, what exactly are those laws entailing and whatnot? If anybody can let us know in the comments section, that'd be fantastic. But another 1980 here.
Vietnam adopts the Constitution.
Yep. That's after it won the war. They're all communists and all that stuff. And, hold on a second. I have to play this button. Should I push the communist button?
Don't do it. It's a domino effect.
It's a trap.
No.
Off the main source, 1981, the first flight, I guess. I wrote down fight flight. So, first flight. Hold on. First flight of the Russian heavy strategic bomber Tu-160, the world's largest combat aircraft, largest supersonic aircraft, and largest variable sweep wing aircraft built. I wonder if it's since been eclipsed. But let's see here, 1981, Russia, 1981. Paste that. Oh, okay, that's a pretty big aircraft there. Ooh, look at all the ordnance they can carry. Wow. Oh, but I'm sure we have bigger aircrafts than that. But maybe like it's the only one still with these 3 records in conjunction. I'm not sure. Anyway, moving on up to 1983, NBA San Diego Clippers ended a 29-game road losing streak. Well, that's good. They're no longer losing. 1984, a pretty good one here. What do we got?
A Christmas Carol, directed by Clive Donner, starring George C. Scott, premieres in the U.S.
I don't think I may have seen that one once. I'm not sure, but yeah, I've definitely seen the Muppet Christmas Carol many times. So that seems to be like a bigger staple for me than most other Christmas movies. But what else do we have here?
Seattle Seahawks win their first ever division title with 9-7 record. Jesus.
What game are they? Is that basketball, baseball, football? Who are the Seahawks?
It's football.
Football, okay. All right. 1989, I Love Lucy Christmas episode was shown for the first time in over 30 years. Huh. That's pretty cool. Moving on up into 1991, D. Forrest Kelly, Dr. McCoy on Star Trek, got a star in Hollywood. Okay, that's pretty cool. You know who else has stars in Hollywood? The crew of Apollo 11. That's a little weird, you know?
Yeah.
Aren't actors, you know, and you know, people who worked in the motion picture industry only supposed to get those? Kind of reinforces, you know, one of those theories about landing on the moon.
Don't make it look good.
Yeah, I know, right? 1991, General Motors announced the closing of 21 plants. What a surprise. You know, all these people going about, oh, corporations are a good thing. Look at how many people they employ. Are they really employing people? No, they're not. They're not a good thing. Abolish corporations. 1993, what do we got here?
1993, MGA Grand Las Vegas Hotel and Casino first opens as largest hotel complex in the world since surpassed.
That makes me wonder, what is current largest hotel complex in the world?
No.
Let's see here. List of largest hotels. Okay. First World Hotel in Malaysia. 7,351 rooms. Holy crap, dude. The Venetian Resorts. I've been at a Venetian. Oh, MGM Grand. Okay, so they're third place now with 6,000. The Wynn. Been at there. Been Mandalay Bay. Been at Luxor.
No. Nice.
Been at Excalibur. Caesar's Palace. Bellagio. Circus. I have not been to Fontainebleau. That's a recent one. No. Flamingo. Alright. Pretty cool. The Mirage! Hey! Oh, I'm still pissed that they're getting rid of that volcano at the Mirage. It's already gone. Oh well. Anyway, moving on up, off of main source here, 95. A Lockheed L-188 Electra crashed in Jamba, Curando, Cubango, Angola, killing 141 people. Yikes. 1996. Oh man, I have a few things to say about this one, but would you like to read this?
The Oakland, California School Board passes a resolution officially declaring Ebonics a language.
It's not. Ebonics is a hateful thing. Like I'm not sure if you know the history of Ebonics, but
I know, yeah.
Well, Ebonics basically like you know how a certain community says, "Oh, let me ask you a question instead of ask."
Yeah.
Like they literally took the English language and bastardized it. As a proverbial middle finger towards the white man. They literally took the white man's language and bastardized it just as a way to get back at it. Ebonics is purely race hatred fueled bigotry against white people. You know, the very language we speak. Like, you know, you want to talk about, you know, about racism. anyone who uses Ebonics is racist. So, moving on up to 1996, what do we got here?
The U.S. TV industry execs agreed to adopt a rating system.
All right. Kind of need that, a little bit, I guess. But this next one is pretty interesting too.
HTML 4.0 is published for the World Wide Web Consortium.
All right. And pretty fitting. Like I don't have this marked, but I'll actually mark it now because it's actually a decent movie. I have not seen it though, but pretty interesting. Directly after talking about HTML 4.0 being published for the internet, what do we got in 98?
Romantic comedy film You've Got Mail starring Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, directed by Nora Ephron and written by sisters Nora and Delia Ephron is released.
Huh. So Nora and Delia Ephron wrote it, but only Nora got to be in it. That's not cool. Unless Delia didn't want to be in it. But, I don't know. And before we go into the next millennium, just one more in the 90s.
NASA launches the Terra platform into orbit carrying 5 Earth observation instruments, including Aster, Ceres, Mr. Modus, and Moped.
Huh. Cool. So, we have two, we have several space things, today, but 2 things about communications. That's pretty cool.
No.
Moving on up to 2002, actually, I gotta give this to you. This is a you article. Sorry.
Oh yeah, 2002, The Two Towers, second Lord of the Rings films is released. Makes 6.2. What is that? Billion?
I'm gonna go with million.
And 926 million total worldwide. It's almost $1 billion.
Wow.
Whew.
That's a lot. 2002 as well, fashion designer Calvin Klein announced he is selling his company to shirt maker Philips Van Heusen for $430 million. Wow. 2002 as well, Governor of California Gray Davis announced the state faces a record budget deficit of $35 billion, roughly double the figure reported during his re-election campaign 1 month earlier. What a surprise. Gray Davis. Dude, like, every one of our governors has been trashed. Like, the only saving grace we ever had was Arnold, and even that guy is fallen, Gray Davis, then there's King Med, I don't know his name, then now we have Gavin Newsom. No wonder California's in such dire straits. We've had shit leaders for, half a century now? Off a main source here, 2006, the United Arab Emirates held its first ever elections, the UAE, over there by Saudi Arabia. And another off a main source, 2006 as well, the first of a series of floods struck Malaysia, resulting with a death toll of at least 118 people with over 400,000 displaced. Wow. Moving on up to 2009, James Cameron, the pioneer, yada yada, whatever it says on South Park. What do we got?
2009, James Cameron's Avatar, starring Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, and Sigourney Weaver, released in the U.S., becomes highest-grossing film of all time.
Pretty sure that's since been surpassed. But
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. This is nice.
Last troops withdraw from Iraq, formally ending the Iraq War.
Nice. What year was that?
2011.
Nice. 2012, 6 health workers dispensing polio vaccines were gunned down in Pakistan. Whoa. What the hell? Why are you shooting people trying to help your people? That's kind of counterintuitive right there. 2012 as well, Canadian police began arresting 17 people for the Great Maple Syrup Heist. Only in Canada would there be a Great Maple Syrup Heist. For stealing 3,000 tons from a storage facility in Quebec.
Must be some bomb maple syrup.
Well, of course, it's Canada, man. They're known for their maple syrup. and their hockey sticks and moose and snow and, you know, horrible government. Honk honk. 2015, off of main source, killing the colliery, the last deep coal mine in Great Britain, closed. Huh. 2017, Australia regained cricket's ashes against England, winning by an innings to take 3-game lead at the Waka in Perth. Waka Waka! No idea what the hell that means, but they took something from England, so that's a good thing right there. 2018, a fire destroyed 600 stilt homes in Manaus, northwestern Brazil. Yikes. That's not good. But what else do we got here in 2018?
Meteor explodes in a huge fireball over Bering Sea with 10 times the energy of Hiroshima atomic bomb, second largest in the last 30 years.
Wow. And speaking of bombs and whatnot, what do we got in 2018 as well?
Nevada becomes the first U.S. state with a female majority legislator, with new appointments taking it to 51%.
Haven't there been like a lot of weird things like involving Nevada, like with the 2020 election and all that stuff? Like, I mean, that was all across the board, but you know, I don't know. 2019 here, U.S. House of Representatives voted to impeach President Donald Trump for abuse of power, yada, 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 propaganda, 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 for the first time. So they tried and they didn't succeed because it's all crap. I am not a Trump supporter. I am not a Hillary supporter. I am not a Biden supporter. I am not a Harris supporter. I don't support any of these clowns, you know? So, but moving on up, we got, I'm going to take 2022 here. Something about Cinderella. So where'd it go? Oh, I skipped over it. Here we go. Cinderella's glass slipper, really a witty literary joke by Charles Perrault, poking fun at French King Louis XIV's love of shoes and Versailles Hall of Mirrors, according to Scottish professor Genevieve Warwick. However, didn't we just recently see a video about Cinderella and how it dates all the way back to the Roman era?
Oh, I don't know.
Huh. I'm gonna have to look that up actually here really quick. Let me look at my history. I saw something. Maybe it was part of a compilation of videos. I'm not sure, but there's like 500 something variants of the Cinderella story in Europe alone. So yeah. Moving on up to 2023, we have a lot of stuff that happened last year. A 6.2 magnitude earthquake struck Jiuquan County in Gansu Province, killing at least 127 people. China's worst earthquake in 13 years. Yikes. 2023 as well, BP, we're sorry, joined other companies in pausing transit of ships through the Red Sea amid attacks by Yemen's Houthi rebels on commercial vessels, with serious implications for global shipping. Yeah, remember when they were like just shooting things like on their way to go into the Suez Canal and whatnot? We also have extreme rainfall and flooding after Cyclone Jasper broke 100-year-old weather records around Cairns and Daintree in northern Queensland, Australia. Whoa. And we have 3 more, and I'll give them to you, good sir.
Icelandic volcano erupts on Reykjavik, James, Peninsula, 40 kilometers from country's capital, Reykjavik.
Wow, that's not that far. That's kind of concerning right there. And this last 2, here we go.
2023, Pope Francis will allow priests to bless same-sex couples through not when connected to a civil or same-sex union.
Huh. Alright. And last but not least,
Utah YouTuber Ruby Frank pleads guilty to child abuse charges, including convincing her children they are evil and possessed.
wow.
Oof.
That's ridiculous. Well, that should conclude the show. Once again, check the underbar of the description below for any links that you may find interesting, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. A lot of history has and continues to be made on a daily basis, and we can only bring you, a portion. Like, as you see, we only read what's marked with these hyphens. So, yeah, go check our sources for more. For your dose of Past Events Daily, we stream at 11 in the morning Pacific time. Not daily anymore because it's the holidays and a whole bunch of stuff is happening, and I got set up this new rig, and I just a whole bunch of life stuff is happening, so we can't do the show every single day like we usually do. But you know, it's 11 o'clock Pacific time or 12 noon Mountain. What time Central and Eastern?
1 o'clock, 2 o'clock.
Yep. 3
Eastern.
o'clock rock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock rock. Anyway, we do have other shows, although we mainly focus on news and history for the time being. As I said, all the other stuff happening. And so, anyway, for all of you and all of us, I am Xander.
King's Refuge.
And you, viewer, are you. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us. And until you catch us next time, whenever that is, wherever that is, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles!